Hello and welcome to the DrivingMaul Rugby predictions here on New Zealand Sports Radio. Hi, I'm Paul, and yes, I'll be bringing you my predictions for the rugby games coming up over the next weekend. This is something that I've been doing for a number of years in written format over on my website, NZ Sport Radio, but I thought, you know what, I'd do something a bit different and try it as a video this week. As you can see, I'm showing my screen, which has got my Super Brew account up there, so you can see how my predictions are. And look here, these predictions are for fun, causing discussion, and for Super Brew. They're not designed for gambling. They don't take into account the odds that are on show. And if you do want to use any of these as guides for gambling, please do make sure you gamble responsibly and only with money that you're prepared to lose. And with all of those caveats out of the way, let's crack into the rugby for Super Brew. And good evening to Simon, who's joining me. By the way, folks, I say this is something new I'm trying out. I'm not sure which time slot it will sit into. It probably won't be every Thursday at around 8 o'clock. That's because I'm normally at rugby training, but giving it a skip this evening. Anyway, let's kick off then with round 4 of Super Rugby Trans-Tasman. And first up, we have the Crusaders versus Western Force. Look, the Crusaders on 14 points, 1 point behind the Hurricanes and the Blues, knowing that they need try bonus points to keep in touch with those two teams. Up against Western Force, and look, they lost last weekend by 37 points, 10 points the week before, and that close game in against the Chiefs in week 1. But look, I think for me, we're going big on this one. Yeah, it's going to be something like a 25-point win by the Crusaders in that one. Can't see Western Force really performing away from Perth on the road in Australia. Next up, Reds against the Blues. The Reds coming off the back of that win last weekend, but boy, oh boy, did the Chiefs make a comeback in that one. And it ended up being only a 6-point win in the end. Look, the Blues are on a roll. And let's be honest here, beating the Brumbies quite comfortably last weekend. The smallest win so far has been 27 points over the Tars. This is clearly their toughest game yet. Look, I've picked against a team playing the Reds before and came up wrong with that one. Here, I think again, I'm going to back the Blues by 3, but this is one that I can see going either way. As I say, the Reds beat the Chiefs last weekend, but that Blues pack really is on a roll, isn't it? It'll be a matter of, can they keep the ball there away from those Reds backs, which could be really kind of dangerous. We then head over to Forsyth Bar for the Highlanders versus the Waratahs. Obviously, the Highlanders having to play in Sydney last weekend. And look, again, the Tars, their smallest winners in week 1 at 16 points. It's going to be a 20-odd point one again for the Highlanders. I'm sorry, but the Waratahs are struggling at this level. They are improving, to be fair, and showing signs of improvement, which is good to see. But up against the Highlanders, I think we're going to be seeing, a 20-point win there. Then it's the Brumbies against the Hurricanes. And dear me. If there's one that I want to go for an upset on, it's this one. I want to go for the Brumbies in here. Let me see a couple of comments in the live chat there that the people are going to disagree with me on the Reds one. Simon Hughes going for the Reds by 3, and Fat Exodus over on YouTube saying that the Chiefs gave the Reds some confidence. It could be. It could be the time. We'll have to wait and see how that one pans out. To me, though, the one that I'm looking at is the Brumbies versus the Hurricanes. The Brumbies have been beaten up by packs over the last couple of weeks, but that's not the style that the Hurricanes bring. The Hurricanes bring backs and lots of pace. So I'm going to go out on a limb here and go Brumbies by 3 because I can't see the Hurricanes backs beating them up. I think this is where the Hurricanes are going to come unstuck. Finally, the Chiefs. Without the Dane McKenzie, who is obviously suspended due to that red card last weekend. But look, they're out of the competition now, having that loss on 10 points, 5 points behind the Blues and Hurricanes. I mean, technically, they're not out of it, but I think no one's expecting them to make the finals on that one. Look, the Rebels, though, might be improving, but again, I think we're going to see something like that 15-point win for the Chiefs at this time. Again, it's over in Sydney, not in Hamilton, due to the old COVID down there in Victoria. So unfortunately, the Chiefs having to buy some new laundry or some new underwear, because what was supposed to be a sort of 5 or 6 day, or about like a 5-day trip over to Oz has turned into what's going to be a 3-week trip over there, as their final game is in Sydney against the Waratahs as well. So that's going to end up being a bit of a long tour for them over in Oz. Let's hope that that disruption doesn't cause them too many issues there. So that's how I see the Super Trans-Tasman going. I should probably just touch on 87% so far on this one. The average globally is 86%. So hey, pretty much bang on average there. Not a great pickup necessarily. The Pro 14 Rainbow Cup, I'm doing even worse, folks. Look at that. I'm at 50% so far. 53% so far is the average. So clearly, this is a tough one to pick because, how are teams taking? How important are teams taking it in this one? Now we've got the North-South final. I think some teams taking it more seriously than others. On to that anyway. The Bulls, look, they've been the form team, but they did pick up that loss to the Lions just by a single point last weekend, and the Stormers have turned things around with a couple of good results, both narrow though, by only 2 and 3 points there, which come off the back. I mean, all their games have been narrow, so I think we can safely say this is going to be a close game, probably with a losing bonus point for the Stormers, as I think I'm picking the Bulls by 5 in this one. Connacht versus the Ospreys. Now, Connacht, not having a great record at home, which is a bit of a surprise normally. Even got that loss as well on the road to Benetton, so not having a great time. Ospreys, one of the more definitely improved ones on that side of things in Wales, but still, I'm not expecting much against. They've beaten the. I'm not expecting them to go to Connacht and win, so I'm going to back Connacht by 3. Boy, oh boy, yeah, Leinster have picked up a loss, beaten Connacht, and beat Ulster. How serious are Leinster taking this one? Whereas we've actually seen some decent results, but then again, it's been against Edinburgh and the Dragons. It's hardly been top quality from the Warriors there. So you always sort of back Leinster, haven't you? Lions against the Sharks. Well, the Lions got that first win last weekend, that 1 point over the Bulls, but the Sharks really have been poor the last 2 weeks. Their first game against the Lions, though, they beat them by 8. Can I see the Lions going back to back? There might be an element here. I am going to go so because I think it's just an element of home side advantage there. Edinburgh versus Ulster, back the home team. Ulster, look, they're out of the competition already. Edinburgh are as well, but just go for home advantage on that one. Even though Ulster have been tracking better, so perhaps it's a bad choice there. Zebre, they've lost all their games so far. Clearly, you've got to go for a win with the Blues, but they haven't been big blowouts, and also the Blues haven't been winning big either. So again, small home win for that one. As I say, the Rainbow Cup is a bit of a lottery. As you can see, very few people getting the right selections there. Over to the Premiership and a different one where I think much more serious tournament in this one still, and coming towards the point again. Just 2 rounds left to go. Sale Sharks, as you can see, tracking very well at the moment. Their last loss came on the 13th of March against the Saints. But there's been a lot of tight ones in there, so I'm not expecting them to blow Harlequins away. But at home, I expect them to have too much Harlequins, so I'm going to go Sharks by 5. Gloucester against Bath, dear me, basically a coin flip. And let's be honest, this game doesn't really matter much, seeing those two sides further back in the table. Even though I guess European places could be on the cards if they were to string a couple of wins together. I was going to go with home advantage on this one. And as you can see, not a great record recently by Bath. Falcons against Worcester. Well, pretty simply, Worcester have won 1 game all season, haven't they? Sorry, 3 games all season. This table's wrong here, folks. 3 games all season. Falcons, look, had a great start to the season, didn't they? Down here with those 3 wins on the bounce, but have struggled really this year. Even so, I can't see them losing at home to Worcester. So a pretty comfortable win for the Falcons. Tigers against Bears. Now, Bristol Bears have got themselves a home field. Oh, well, actually, no, not mathematically, they could lose home field advantage. But so they just need a couple more points. Leicester Tigers improved, 10-10 still. I think Bristol will take this one. I'm going by 3 because those couple of losses recently. London Irish up against Wasps. Wasps up and down, really. Haven't they? Since they got rid of Dai Young, they got a couple of wins in, but they don't seem to be able to string a couple of wins. They don't seem to be able to string 2 wins together. London Irish, again, on a big, long losing streak. Pretty much all their wins have come at home, though. And Wasps, well, home or away, they seem to be pretty similar. Last home win against Newcastle Falcons. Last away win about Newcastle Falcons. Maybe I'll drop Irish there on that one because of the home advantage. Finally, Saints up against Exeter. Exeter will want to confirm they get home advantage in the semi-final. So I'm backing Exeter Chiefs in that one. Simon's going to say, yeah, Edinburgh by 71. Yeah, I don't think so on that one. Moving on then to the top 14. And again, we're getting towards it's the final round before the playoffs in this one. It's funny how all the different how all the leagues at slightly different stages here. But Stade Francais in 7th place. They're going to need a result against Bayonne. So they'll be willing, even though it is an away trip, I am backing them to take that win there. Perhaps I've gone a bit big there, perhaps better by 7. Clermont against La Rochelle. La Rochelle tied at the top of the table with Toulouse, both on 77 points. But Clermont, as you can see, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. That must mean it's a win this weekend for them. It's been a long time since they put back-to-back wins together down there, losing on the road to Toulouse last time out. La Rochelle, obviously being a bit distracted with that the European Champions Cup final. Look, Pau Argent, 13th, 14th place. Brive Montpellier, not good against 10th and 11th, losing those 2 games. Yeah, I'm going to back actually Clermont at home to upset La Rochelle in that one. Bordeaux hosting Toulouse. Now, Toulouse really have come off the rails. They've only lost 8 games all season, 4 of those in the last 6 games. So clearly not had a good time of it there. Bordeaux currently sat in 4th place. Look, the Racing 92 could in fact catch Toulouse and La Rochelle, so they do need some points here. But still, I'm going to back Bordeaux at home. Pau against Montpellier. Pau need the win here to try and get out of relegation situation. Montpellier not really got much to play for. I'm going to back Pau by 3 in this one because they are at home fighting for relegation. And Bayonne, if they get that loss as I expect, means that Pau will be all in on this one. Racing 92, 3 wins on the bounce there, up against Brive in 11th place. We're looking for another win here as well, aren't we? Let's be honest. But again, Argent, 40 points. Wow, what a big win they had there. But Pau by 6, second from bottom there. I'm expecting, pretty comfortable win there by Racing against Brive. Cast against Toulon. Toulon in 6th place, Cast in 8th. Yes, this could be a close one for those playoff positions. Can Cast have some results go their way? Toulon, notoriously bad away from home. Look at that, only 3 wins from 12, 11 from 13 at home. You've got to say Cast with that good 8 from 12 record at home, have got to be in the driving seat there. Leon against Arjon. Arjon have not won a game all season. So the only question is by how much? And looking at those scores, we better go big. So let's go by 45 for Leon there, even though they haven't got much to play for at this stage of the season. Just throw up Simon's predictions there as well. Finally, we've got Major League Rugby on the cards. By the way, folks, don't forget you can become a supporter of New Zealand Sport Radio. Link is down below in the comments, or if you're listening to the podcast, in the podcast show notes as well. Yes, if you want to, you can listen to us as a podcast, just search New Zealand Sports Radio. There are some Patreon or supporter only shows on the podcast feed for your listening. Moving on then to Major League Rugby, and how have I been doing here? Hey, look at that, 54% success rate. So yeah, slightly over 1 out of 2, and just slightly better than the average of 52. That put me in the top 25 in the world. Wow. So yes, again, don't take these too seriously. But you've got to say, Gilgronis up against Houston. Houston started up those 2 early wins in the season, but have struggled since then. You've got to say Gilgronis for me in this one, even with those 2 big losses recently to the Giltinis and also to the Utah Warriors. So perhaps not a lot of confidence, but I still think the Gilgronis will go to Houston and win that one. NOLA up against Rugby ATL. Rugby ATL going well, sitting second in the table. But NOLA pretty good at home. 5 from 7 there, just those couple of losses, just that 1 loss to the Gilgronis, even a draw in there. Whereas Atlanta only got 2 wins on the road. Now, one of those wins was against Toronto Arrows in Atlanta. So the only team they've beaten on the road is the Seattle Seawolves, who are in bottom place. I think that travel is going to be the death knell for them. I'm going with NOLA because of that. Toronto up against San Diego. San Diego actually picking up a couple of wins recently over NOLA and Houston, but both of those at home. Again, the only win on the road out the Gilgronis early in the season. Those have been those 2 big wins at home when they've got some players back. Toronto, look, all their games are away at the end of the day because they are playing in Atlanta at the moment, not up in Toronto. And so yes, even that home game against Atlanta was an away game. Look, their losses generally have been small. I'm going to put them to by 3, but as I say, Legion got some players back, which has obviously turned them around a bit. Let's see if they can do that on the road as well. Free Jacks up against Old Glory. This should be a cracker. Free Jacks in 7th in the overall table. Old Glory just 1 win and 1 point behind them because of a draw and an extra bonus point. So this one should be, as I say, a bit of a cracker here. Old Glory, again, a team that likes to be at home. 3 wins there, only 1 win on the road. The Free Jacks, 3 from 3 at home. A couple of wins there on the. So I'm backing them to keep their home advantage or the home record going. Seattle hosting Utah. Interesting one, this one. Again, Utah, not a team that travels well. Just that 1 win on the road up against Austin Gilgronis back on the opening weekend of the season. All their other wins have been at home. Seattle do have in the past had a great atmosphere up there. Look, shocking, having a shocking season this season, the 2-time champions, actually still reigning champions. But I'm going to go for Utah on this one. Can I? No, you've got to go for Seawolves and friend because the Utah's traveling is poor. So Seawolves by 3 for me there. There you go, folks. And those are my predictions for this week's rugby. Just try something new as a video and also podcast. We'll see whether we continue this format or how we do it going forward. Let me know your thoughts. It will be interesting to hear them. Don't forget, join me on @DrivingMaul on Twitter during the Super Rugby games, Super Rugby Trans-Tasman games this weekend, live during the games, and join me for a chat there on those games. Have a great weekend, folks, and enjoy.